All right, Brandon, I wanted to get with you out here today at some point and just do a year in review. I've never done one of these and thought about doing it. Got our new backdrop that Elite Graphics made us here in the shop. We got the air conditioning running here, so I'm not sure if the quality is going to be that great, but haven't had you on camera a lot, and without being at the races or being extremely busy doing something. So listen, we just got off work, and we're here. I'm here in the shop with Brandon, and we're going to go through the entire year. And I've got several notes wrote down here, and Brandon's like, "We're going to do the whole." Yeah, we're going to do the entire season, and probably go race by race. So I'm not sure how long it'll be. And Brandon has nowhere to go, so he's got time to hang out with me tonight. And we got quad sitting behind us there. We got the brand new 2025 Can-Am, it's a 24, but it's for the 25 season sitting over there. We are finally going back together with it, and so we got a couple more Renegades sitting back here. But Brandon had a good season, and unfortunately for you and I both, we got sicker than hell after the championship.
Actually, I was sick during the race, to be honest with you. I was sick going into the race. I was sick. I got sick that Tuesday or Monday night, but Tuesday, and I was like, oh God. I mean, this was the worst time to get sick because we were planning on winning the championship, and it was going to be a good weekend. And honestly, it got worse, and then I started feeling a little bit better before the weekend, and then got there, showed up, obviously won the race, won the event, got the championship, and then about 3 hours after that, I felt like I was about to die. So. I don't know if it was all the energy I used during the race. I'm not sure what it was, but man, dude, it was rough that Saturday night. Went back to Airbnb, fell asleep, and then got on the airplane, went home, and I think I took off work that Monday and Tuesday, I think. Yeah. And I was trying to recover.
We had big plans of partying. We usually come home on Friday or Saturday night, but oh my goodness, yeah, like he said, he had been sick all week, the week leading up to Indiana, and found a little bit of energy on Saturday. And so we had booked the Airbnb for Saturday night, thinking that we would stay and watch the band. They got a big band and all that, plays at Crawfordsville, Indiana, the last race of the season. Yep. And it wasn't it
was rough.
It was bad,
for sure.
And so anyway, we loaded up, went to the Airbnb and fell asleep, and went to bed early on championship night, but that's fine. So and then when we got home,
I went to the doctor because I didn't go to the doctor before, and they didn't even know what I had. So they gave me some antibiotics, some ear drops, all kinds of different stuff, and tested me for all kinds of different stuff, and didn't know what I had. So unfortunately, I'm still not 100% today, to be honest with you. It's what is it, 2 weeks after? 2 weeks after, and I'm still like, I still feel it in my system. There's something I still have, but hopefully I'll be getting rid of it soon. And I haven't done much training and anything like that, so it hasn't been a big hindrance, but ready to get back after it.
Yeah, I mean, and that entire week, I think whatever you had, you give me. I wasn't as bad as you, but I had no energy and all that stuff. So anyway, we did some things this past weekend, and had a great time and all that kind of stuff. But how's it feel to be the 2024 champ?
Feels really good. I mean, it's something I've been trying to achieve for a little while, and feels good to finally get it. Now it's like, I don't know, it feels like everybody's looking at me now. So it's a little bit of
you got the big target, you got the red target.
It's a little bit of a different point of view, but it feels really good. It's something we've been achieving, or been wanting to achieve for a while. Been striving for it. It feels good to finally get it.
This is actually your second national championship, like overall championship.
Yeah, we won the youth national championship. There's actually a banner over here in 2014. We won it, and 10 years later we won the 4x4 Pro Championship.
But unfortunately, in that particular year in 2014, you had won, the damn stats are almost exactly the same. You had won 11 out of 13, and you know, out of those races in the overall or whatever. And then, but then you moved up the following year. So we were never able to run like the official #1 plate and be the championship, even a champion, even though we were. But anyway, this coming up season 2025 is going to be a little different for us, just because we're going to be able to change numbers finally, Brandon.
Yeah, we're going to run the #1 plate, which we've been wanting to run for a while, and it's something I've always dreamed of running. It's a number to have, and it's a number you earn, so it takes a lot to earn it. So
I think that the riders that are at the top level of our kind of racing, they all achieve and they want that number one.
And they understand how hard it is to get.
And that is very hard to achieve.
It's not easy, for sure.
Right. And it's taken us, well, this is your 4th year in pro.
Yep.
And so anyway, it takes a lot to get caught up.
For sure.
And that number one plate is something that everybody seeks after. That's the reason why we do it. They want, everybody does it to advance their number. I remember when we was in the youth, I think we started out at 25, went to 14, went to 13, went to 4, and then went to 1.
Yep.
So it just takes several years to get caught up, and the pace that you guys are running in the 4x4 class is unreal. And you can go back home and compare the lap times and all that stuff, but it's not the same. The blistering pace when the green flag drops from those first couple 3 rows are unbelievable.
Sure.
Even the youth, we had Bryce Pullen, ran really well.
Kids, man.
There's some of them kids are unreal. And got Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler be watching out for those kids. They're coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At some point they'll be there or trying to be there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So anyway, and I think a couple of the races, I think they've won the overall, the youth.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And then we got the girls too, the pro women. There's 3 or 4 of those girls that are blistering fast, and going to be a great season. It was a great season to watch this year, and even going to be better next year.
Yep.
So,
sure.
But yeah, we have the coveted number one plate on your back now, so we don't really know what that feels like. And,
I know.
so
I'm excited to put some number one plates on the four-wheelers just to see what it looks like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, seeing 784 is a cool number. Obviously, it means a lot to me. But the number one plate is like something I feel like I've really earned and put my name on. So it's a little bit different. I'm excited to see it on the four-wheelers, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember several years ago. This your 4th year in pro. You finished 3rd. You finished second, and now 1st. So you've been in top 3 all 4 seasons, which is very good and really hard to do. But you was able to do that. Jeremy had called us and said, "Hey, you guys are probably the number 2 guy next year. Y'all need to run the number 2." And we're like, we're not running nothing but number 1.
Yeah.
We're going to run 784 or either the number 1. You know what I mean? So, and like a lot of people do, just because we feel like the 784 is your number, is your trademark. Sort of, everybody knows us by 784. So, in fact, our race team is called Pro Row 784. So. Brandon, I just want to run over some stats with you just real quick, and then we'll get into race by race. We'll talk about the race, and I can go back through and remember these races like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
because that's how laser focused that we were this entire race. I mean, we wake up every day and just when something did happen at one of the races, we would try to correct it.
Oh yeah, I remember all the mistakes I made, all the little stuff, all the issues we had. I mean, those were the races that I remember most, just because of the fact of it cost me.
That's
and it meant a lot.
Right.
Like the winning and all that, I mean,
that's all fun.
Those mean a lot, but it's like you don't understand the whole race unless something like really devastating happens, or it's like it hurts a little bit more. So.
Right. So me and the Gncc crew, we're the same way on the sideline.
Yep.
When we feel like we got beaten because of something, we really remember that. Well, you're no different. When you made a mistake, passed a guy and hit the tree, God dog it. You know what I mean? So anyway. All right, so I'm gonna just go over a few stats with you right quick, and then we'll get into race by race. Brandon, they were 54 laps run this year. You actually led 34 of them, of the overall laps. Okay, and that's pretty darn good. Okay, and it comes out to 63% of the laps led. You led this season. That's pretty darn good.
Yep.
Okay. At the level that we're running at, I was really surprised to see that number. I knew you'd led a lot of laps, but 63% of the laps you led. You was in the podium, which means top 3 positions, 11 out of the 13 rounds. You was 1st, 2nd, or 3rd on the podium with that Renegade.
Yep.
That's pretty tough too. That's really impressive. You won 7 out of the 13 races. You know what I mean? Think about that. That's more than half.
Yeah.
The next closest rider, I think, won 4 or 5. I think. I can't remember. But anyway, you won 7 out of the 13. Gives you a 1.8 average finish. Come on, man. You know what I mean? We had 2 finishes right here in the middle. You're going to find out here in a second that really affected our season.
Sure.
But then obviously this is your 4th year in pro.
Yep.
But But no, those are pretty impressive, I thought. You know what I mean? And that just shows you how hard these darn things are to win.
Oh, yeah.
You know, honestly, you've got to be almost perfect to win these darn things.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I mean that's what it takes.
There's a lot of things going on in our heads, let alone the machine. I mean, there's a lot of things
Yes.
going on with it too. There's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of parts we replace year round just because. I mean, it's not even like because it's broke or worn out. It's just because we know it's a known issue and we just want to make sure we try to be perfect all year round.
What do you think? You think it's almost 50-50, 50% machine, 50% rider?
Yeah, I mean,
in the Renegades.
And most of the time, your machine will have an issue. I mean, there's
Yes.
hardly a race where 100% will go your way with the machine. There's always like a little nag or something. Maybe you lose brakes, a flat tire. There's little stuff that happens throughout the race that most time the machine has, and you just got to compensate for it. But yeah, then it's rider error at that point. So
yes. Yeah, it's almost, you hardly ever get a perfect race. Even with us in the pit area too. I remember there was several races where we're like, if we should have just pitted the next lap, or if we could have did that, it would have made it better, you know. And then there's just some things that I remember. But then again, there's a couple of races in here that we were on our game, and it really paid dividends at the end. So you know,
that's what makes you better, though. You look
Yes.
back and you see, oh, we should have done that. Then it's like you go to the next race and you remember that. So then
yes,
that's why normally most times year after year you get better, and everybody gets better because they're learning just as we are.
right. Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, you got Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, and some of these ladies that are racing. I mean, they've been around forever.
Yep.
And and even the guys that we're chasing in the Renegades. I mean, they're, you know, we got Robert Smith's been racing since the inception of these darn things.
Yep.
And but anyway, they're very, very well experienced, and you know, same way with us. I mean, I just feel like we're always behind trying to learn things. You know, just always learning things. And but
even though we had the #1 plate, I'm sure we'll learn stuff next year.
We sure will.
We've learned a lot this year, but I mean, there's always stuff to improve on.
All right, as I was writing all this stuff down, you haven't seen this stuff, Brandon, but I was writing this stuff down, and as I said before, I can almost remember these races lap by lap. I remember what happened, and I didn't even race them. I was there managing and trying to help you win the race, and it's that's how laser focused we were this season. And I just wrote down a few things here. I don't want to bore the crowd with all of our stuff we got going on here, but I thought it was important just to ask you some things and see if you remember some of the same things that I remember. So it's the first race. We went to Big Buck, South Carolina, and I got some more notes here. I wrote down two here. I got to put my glasses on. They were 255 riders in that race. Okay, you finished second overall, second in class that day. You was on a brand new four-wheeler.
Yep.
We had some stuff go wrong, that kind of stuff, crashed a couple times and all that stuff, but let's talk about that race. So there's 255 riders in the first race.
Yeah.
I finished second overall, second
I remember
class.
going into the race, I was feeling really good. Obviously a new bike,
Brand new four-wheeler.
feeling really good. We did change some things, which we've learned now.
When did you ride the bike for the first time?
About 3 or 4 days before the race.
Yes.
And we did a crazy shock change that we shouldn't have done. We were all thinking it was going to be better, and unfortunately it wasn't. Obviously we know now, but yeah, going to the race, dude, I was feeling great. I did a lot of training. I was feeling good. I'd done more training than I ever had. Feeling like I could have been that next level, and I show up and I ride like I felt like a B rider. Mm-hmm. So to be honest with you, it was really heartbreaking to go into the race and finish the way I did. I crashed twice. I normally never crash. Just had some unfortunate issues go wrong. Wasn't comfortable, wasn't feeling how normally I would feel. And we finished second, which is a good day, but I remember getting off the racetrack and I just felt like
disappointed.
I was disappointed, I was beat. I was like, man, dude, all this training I've done and I come out here and ride like this. It was just unfortunate for me. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what I remember from round one. It was just like almost like a heartbreak. It was just really tough. It was unfortunate, but we've learned from that. So we did. So, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and lead us into round two.
Yeah, so I'll follow up on some of the stuff. So we finished that quad like on Wednesday, in North Carolina. We went to Gncc and from I think Tuesday, but anyway, had some stuff we had to finish up, shocks included. We took it out to that little test track, and I remember you making, I don't know, you were out there 5 minutes and you come back in and you said, something just happened, it just lost power.
Yep.
Now this is a brand new four-wheeler. I'm talking about 2 hours on it,
yep.
and basically 2 hours is just from the running around the OEMs did with it. And we never could figure that out. We had a ticking noise in the motor.
Yep.
And
we were scared.
We were scared
really
to death. We were never able to figure that out, but we're thinking to ourselves, well, my goodness, a brand new four-wheeler. So we sort of knew that in the back of our brain, but then the shocks, I don't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But you just absolutely...
which we thought we made a right adjustment. When we went to that test track, we tested and we were like, okay, this feels good.
Decent, yeah.
Yeah, we were happy with where it was at. We thought we made some like better changes, and obviously I was running at a practice pace, not a race pace, and also a track that I didn't know. So it was a little bit different. I was trying to figure it out, and obviously we thought we made the right adjustment because we wouldn't have raced it if we didn't.
Right.
And then obviously we heard that ticking noise. I remember that. That was scary. I remember that.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
I remember
Lord.
going back to Gnc's shop, and you know, you're just like, it's doing this or doing that. Gnc's like, pull them off. We pulled all 4 shocks off. I don't know how late we left the shop that night because we had to go to South Carolina the next day.
Yeah, we were trying to figure stuff out.
Gncc and James, they stayed right there, and we dug it. We dug in as hard as we could dig, and felt pretty confident. I thought we were pretty good, but I remember you telling me, he said, Dad, 3rd corner into after the start, he said, I knew we were wrong. But we had what we had. We had to go race. But anyway, finished 2nd overall, 2nd in class, which was pretty good. All right, we'll leave there. Now we come home to Florida.
Yep.
And that's where you really like Florida. You know, it's not that you shine in Florida, okay? You just ride here a lot more than the other riders. There's some really good riders in Gncc that come to Florida and really do well.
Yeah.
The difference is you ride here most of all, okay? And you do feel like it's sort of your hometown. But so now you crashed that brand new four-wheeler at the end of that race in South Carolina. So we did not race that four-wheeler in round 2. Brandon crashed this thing really bad on the last lap about 5 minutes before the finish. Yeah. And the shocks were that bad. And I'm talking about crash it, $3,200 worth of damage. Brand new four-wheeler. I can't remember what all we replaced on it. So our only option is to relate and go back to the quad that we ran in 2023. Nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
Just had more races on it, that kind of stuff. So we had to turn around and we knew, because we couldn't get parts for the other bike, and honestly you weren't feeling very confident about the
I
new
wasn't
bike.
confident. It was ticking. It had shock issues that we had to figure out. Obviously the other bike that I raced all last year I was very happy with. No issues. So we just kind of rehabbed it.
Yes.
I remember actually bringing that bike to Florida actually.
Yes.
And just because I wanted to make sure the bike was going to handle good in Florida.
We went through it, every nut and bolt. Not to say they couldn't, Gncc couldn't. It's just that
I remember bringing that bike back to Florida, and I wanted to ride it. I wanted to test it.
Right.
Because I was very unhappy with how round 1 went, and so round 2 we came out swinging, and
yeah. So I'll give you the stats on round 2. So we're on the last year's bike, okay? 200 riders in that race. Finished 1st overall, 1st in class, okay? Now let's go to Florida. You led 3 out of the 4 laps. I'm sorry, you didn't lead no laps in South Carolina.
Nope.
Obviously.
No laps in South Carolina.
Well, we go to Wild Boar, and you did lead 3 of the 4.
Yep.
Okay, 3 of 4 laps, and you made a little mistake there, I think, that cost you that other lap. But but anyway, for the most part, tell me what it's like when you come to Florida. What's the terrain? What because I've got wrote down. We got ruts. You got lappers. You couldn't get away from the other. There was another rider. You know, the rider we was chasing the championship. You just absolutely could not get away from him. It was that horrendous.
Yeah, Florida, man, dude. I love the place just because of all the fans there. For me, they're all our local people from Florida, dude. There's people cheering me on from corner to corner. It feels like around the racetrack, and it makes me feel good. Obviously, you got a lot of people cheering you on. It makes you ride a little bit harder, so it makes me feel good coming into Florida. I'm excited to come into Florida this year too. I mean, it's exciting just because of all the people, all the fans there that's for me or they're for me.
They know, they actually know you personally and watch you grow up.
It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, going into Florida, you gotta. I'm pretty sure almost everybody changed their shocks. Hey, I mean, you're not running your up north setup down here in Florida. It's just no way. The track's rough, the track's gnarly, sand whoops everywhere. I mean, it's what I'm used to. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
I love it because I know it like the back of my hand. It's all I train on. But for most people, it's not what they're used to. So it's a little bit different feeling for most, and I love it. I don't specifically like the racetrack that we go to. I feel like it's not a true Florida track to me. I feel like there should be a little bit more palmettos, a little bit more field running,
Right.
stuff like that. That's a typical Florida racetrack.
It's quite a bit north. It's 4 hours north of us.
Yeah.
It is a north race for us, but it is sandy.
Yeah,
and that's
it
the reason
definitely
why.
has the sand.
Yeah, it doesn't have the palmettos that we have down here.
We definitely have a lot more palmettos, which is more, I feel like, Florida terrain, but the sand whoops is no joke there. It gets deep. But I love the place. So.
Right. All right, so a couple things happened in that quad. So you won the race, but you bent both trailing arms.
Yep.
And also we had a power steering unit we had to replace after that race. Now,
Yep.
why did all that happen? I don't know. The only thing we can think
The
with
trailing arms was because of
the
we felt
berms.
like the sand whoops and the burns were sliding up against them so hard and stuff like that was the only reason for that. Obviously, the bike was a little bit older as well. Could be a weak trailing
Could've been
arm,
stressed
stuff
out.
like that.
Yeah.
And then the power steering went out, I believe, like halfway through the race, or almost like I think right at the
But
beginning.
you
of the
did
race.
say that was lucky for you though because of it being Florida.
Being Florida.
Yeah, it's almost like train
almost like
tracks,
train
and
tracks.
it stays in the track, so
Yeah.
you don't have
Makes
to.
it a little bit easier.
Makes it a little bit easier. So anyway, so we win that race. So now we're tied up for points.
Yep.
So we go into round 3. Now going into round 3 is in Georgia, and it's the following week.
Yeah.
So
we had to get all this stuff changed.
We had to get all that
between
stuff
now
changed
and Georgia.
because the wreck bike is still sitting over there waiting on parts, and you still don't feel confident. It's sitting in the corner, and we're like, the hell with that right now. You know what I mean? So, but this quad that you're riding, you're very
obviously
familiar
just
with.
one on it, and we're feeling good. We're happy with it. Obviously, got to change power steering, change trailing arms, which the guys over at Gncc did all that week, and
they turned it right around
which
and got
was a
it
busy
ready
week
for us.
them, and got the bike ready to go. And
so I'll give you some stats on round 3 right quick. 181 riders. Okay, you finished first overall, won that race. First in class, you led all 4 laps of that race. I can't remember how you did on the start. You didn't get the whole shot. It seemed like you was 3rd or 4th.
I think it was like 3rd or 4th. Yeah,
maybe.
Something about right.
But anyway, let's talk about that race because that race was a pretty interesting race. So we had the general and in Washington, Georgia. So we showed up there on Friday. Conditions are like primo.
Dang near perfect.
Perfect.
I
We're
mean,
like,
it was a little. I believe it was a little muddy. But, I mean,
just a little bit of mud, but
yeah.
it's like nothing we can't handle.
And I love that place. Actually,
Brandon loves Georgia.
That's probably one of my favorite tracks, especially since I know a lot of people don't like it, but I personally like when they
took all the trees
out. I really feel like it made the track different and open, and I like open tracks, so it suits my style. And
really fast.
I was really happy Friday, but we all knew a rainstorm was coming.
Yeah, so the scuttlebutt around the pit area was got some rain coming. Don't know how much it's going to be, but it's going to rain tonight. And so we shimmy on up to. We actually stayed in a hotel that week.
Yep.
I don't know why we stayed. I can't remember.
I don't think we can find an Airbnb. Normally we try to find.
Normally
Airbnbs,
we stay in Airbnbs, but it was me, Brandon, and Mom.
Yep.
Me, you, and Mom. So it's just the 3 of us. And yeah.
I remember.
Woke up Saturday morning, and it's raining like hell, and it had been raining all night. I'm like, so I text a couple of the guys at the track, and they said, "Man, you got an airboat?" And I said, "Not really," and they said it's pretty bad. So,
and I hate mud. So
and Brandon doesn't like mud. So here we go. We start thinking. Our brain is working, and this is early. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So we knew we wanted to go to Chick-fil-A, I think, to grab a chicken sandwich or something, just something we could eat. We didn't stay in an Airbnb, so we couldn't cook anything and that kind of stuff. So, you remember what happened at the Chick-fil-A? So anyway, we were trying to think of different items and different things to do to mud prep.
Obviously, we're mud prepping, so we're putting the
gauntlets, the mud gauntlets on there.
All kinds of mud prep going on.
But let's back up. Brandon doesn't like running those. He doesn't like his hand stuck in anything. So this particular race, though, we figured we'd have to run something.
Yeah, for sure.
So they all talked us into, we got to run them. So Brandon's like, "Dad, I don't like them. They're hanging down on my hands and all that kind of stuff," which, we all get that. So
Which there's all kinds of different.
Oh, everybody's got a different theory.
A lot of different ideas for sure.
Damn coat hanger, all this kind of stuff. But we finally found something that worked.
Yep.
Not this race, but we found something that Brandon really likes. So anyway, we're sitting there finishing up our sandwich, and I'm like, damn, we need some kind of plexiglass or something we could put in there to hold that up. We went over to the Walmart, bought some plexiglass, some crafts or some bullshit, or bull crap. And anyway, so we went, I can't remember, we went to Walmart first and then went to Chick-fil-A.
But I remember sitting down at Chick-fil-A and they gave us a little, I don't know.
They give you the little red
thing. If y'all
thing
ever been to Chick-fil-A, they give you like
with
a
a
little
number
red
on
thing
it.
when you sit inside and with the number or whatever it has on it. And I was like, dang, I mean, that would be what we would need. And then,
so we were looking for something to stick inside the gauntlet to
hold it from hitting my arms.
Yeah, to be up a little bit. So the girl, she comes back to the table and brings us her food or something. I said, hey, I need to buy one of them. Oh, you can't buy, that's not for sale. And I said, oh dear, anything's for sale. Go back there and ask your manager. I can't remember the exact conversation, but I was like really
She looked at us like we were crazy. Like, why do we need one of these?
What the hell you want that for? She comes back and said, no, we don't have any for sale. And I think Mom got up, Karen got up, and she went by there and talked to the manager. And the manager, damn if they didn't sell us one.
Yep, they sold us
so
one.
We have a damn Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Chick-fil-A didn't use it.
Didn't use it.
Didn't use it. All right, so anyway, so that's some of our mud prep. So this race, we were all dreading it just because of that. Let me tell you what happened. So in the pit area, we had 4 fire extinguisher things that we call fire extinguishers. They're these little, they look like fire extinguishers. You put water in them and then air them up, and then you can shoot them like a fire, like you're trying to put it on a fire or something. But they got water in them. So I decided that we were going to split up with the Gncc crew, and I wanted to be at a different part of the track and let them be at a different part of the track, because we wanted to stop you every lap.
We've had a lot of overheating issues.
A lot of overheating issues with the
Renegades. And we know mud and mud
Yes.
prep and all that stuff plays a big role in overheating. So
so anyway, so we would stop Brandon every lap and blow the radiator out. But we discovered that it wasn't really bad. The water was the biggest thing. The mud wasn't.
It wasn't mud. It was actually like it was almost like a river going through the racetrack. It was pretty nuts. I mean, it was nasty. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't very like heavy mud just because it rained so much.
It almost looked like a milkshake.
Yeah, it was really just like wet, just nasty feeling.
Like chocolate milk or something.
But
so anyway, so the bike ran really well, and
bike ran good. We started off 3rd or 4th, and I remember I got up to 2nd. Cody, I think, probably got the whole shot, or got the lead really early, and ended up getting behind him. And then next thing you know, I see him have a really bad crash.
Had a gnarly crash.
A really bad crash. I made sure he was okay. He gave me a thumbs up, and so I rolled out, and obviously
so basically what happened, you was following him. He's coming around the corner. The water was everywhere.
We were hydroplaning water.
But they were stumps because they had just stumped the damn place.
We were hydroplaning water, and I remember from what it looked like, I don't remember, I really didn't talk to him about it specifically, but I remember it looked like he hydroplaned and the bike got a little sideways and it looked like it caught a stump and it ended up throwing him over. Pretty nasty looking
crash, yeah.
And went by him and he said he was good, so we kept on rolling. And I remember, I don't know if he ended up getting back up or not. I don't specifically remember exactly what happened.
He did. I don't know where he finished at. I think he still finished, I think. I'm not positive.
But yeah, I mean, after that, it was like, okay, I mean, he just had a bad crash. Let's not try to replicate anything like that. Let's keep the wheels moving. And I remember, dude, it was just a survival race. I remember I was changing goggles every lap, or even 2 times a lap. I had so many goggles set up that race, and literally stopping at every pit that we had. We had 2 pits, and getting the radiator blown out, just taking the extra time.
It didn't matter how long the pit stop was. We were there to try to finish the race.
I mean, there were so many things that race, so just to make sure everything was going to run good. I believe Cody fell out. I'm pretty sure, because I remember we took like a lot of extra time to pit. We had a little bit of extra time, and just to make sure the bike survived. And I remember at the end of the race, the bike started skipping a little bit. I was getting a little worried, and
coming toward the finish, you said. And you know what we discovered, and it was kind of weird. On the damn exhaust pipes, remember, they were almost packed full of mud. It was unbelievable. So the mud was like milkshake, like milky water.
But when they touched the exhaust,
it would land on it, and the exhaust would evaporate it, the water, and then it would turn into mud.
It was choking the bike
so it basically filled it up almost like Play-Doh. The other important thing is Mike Penland.
Yep.
So
Mike
so
Penland
Brandon
was there
got
at that
to be on the stage with Mike Penland, which is a
well-known 4x4 racer.
yeah. I mean
More than a 4x4 racer,
oh,
I
yeah.
guess you would say.
This guy's an off-road racer, Baja 500 winner, that kind of stuff, and he was there, and Brandon got to get some pictures with him, and that was pretty damn cool.
Yep, that was really cool.
It was pretty damn cool. So,
I remember
so
that race was a fun race.
it was a fun race. It was just nasty.
It was just nasty, but it was an interesting mud. It was just fun.
Yeah,
it was good.
All right, so you led all the laps. I think that was pretty much.
So obviously
all
we're feeling good. The white bike just won us 2 races.
Yep.
I mean, the bike's running good still. I mean, we had a skipping issue.
Got a point lead.
Got a point lead. We're feeling good. I remember we go to Camp Coker.
Yep, Camp Coker's race number 4. This is where it all falls apart. Okay, Brandon. So I don't want to.
This one I remember most.
Yeah.
This one was a lot.
All right, so there was 204 riders in that race. Brandon, you finished 187th overall.
Yep.
Out of 204.
Sounds about right.
Oh, you finished 8th in class. All of our wind and our damn tails we had,
Gone.
burn them. They're out of here. You led 0 out of 4 laps.
Yep.
All right, so it took you an hour and 16 minutes to make 1 lap. What the hell?
Yep.
All right, so listen, we're feeling good.
Yeah.
Come off 2 wins, and you're
Coker.
actually, yeah, and you actually like that place. Almost won the damn thing last year.
There's places I do like about Camp Coker. There's places I don't.
Yeah, true.
There's
true.
one specific spot where we run like 3 miles of
Yeah, the
pines.
pine
that
tree
just-
section.
It plays dividends with lappers, and there's
Hopefully
just issues.
hopefully they'll go through there and timber that shit.
Yeah, let's
for the
hope.
next race.
But I really like that place.
So on the start, you got second on start.
Yeah,
Second on start behind Collier. Collier got another whole shot.
And feeling good. I mean, literally. I mean, I was happy. I was
Right where you wanted to be.
Right where I want to be. I mean, I would either want to be lead, first, second, third. I mean, anywhere in that position is a good start. And man, dude, I mean, I make it
half mile, maybe
3 minutes, 4, 5
All right,
minutes
so
into the race.
I got to tell a story. So I go up and I usually greet Brandon on the start and make sure he's good and whatever, and then I usually take off on the e-bike. This particular race, I didn't know exactly where I was headed to or where I was going to go.
We had a spot picked out.
Yeah,
we wanted you to go.
typically I wanted to try to get to this one area, but I didn't know how in the hell I was going to get there. But anyway, so I did not watch the start, the initial start. I was down in the woods about a half mile maybe, and I waited on there, and I saw a Collier, and then you go by or whatever, and then some other riders or whatever. So I'm like, all right, so I pick my backpack up and I start chugging along and through the woods area, and then I finally get out to this little road, and so I'm bicycling down this road, and I can hear the quads over here. They're somewhere over here, and I'm bicycling, and I look up, and there's a rider up there broke. I'm like, damn, that's Brandon.
Yeah.
See, because you were in white with blue that day, and the quad is white and blue.
Yeah, it was
I'm
crazy.
like, oh my God,
It's
so
like
I
I just broke like a minute or two, and the next thing you know, I see Dad rolling up on a bicycle.
Yeah, I'm rolling up. Yeah,
then-
Brandon's like, how the hell did you get here?
And then there was a course marshal there, and he said, "Do I need a tow?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And then,
No.
So we were trying to figure it out. And
so there's actually a video. We actually did a YouTube video of that.
Yeah.
So we're ripping things apart. I'm calling the
there's
head
all kinds of
mechanic
stuff going
James
on.
Reeves at Santo de Risi, and he's like,
obviously
check
we
this.
knew race is probably over at this point in time. There was like, all right, we're not winning the race, but all right, let's try to finish the race.
We want to get a lap,
Yep.
because if you get a lap, you at least score points. You do no laps, you get 0 points.
So we figured it out. It was a fuse, and we replaced that fuse, and we're like, okay, we fixed it. So then we go, I get back on the bike, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
I get on the
racing.
bicycle, and I start headed down to where I'm going.
Let's go racing. I was excited. I mean, I knew my race was probably over, but I was excited to go racing. So get back on the bike. Another maybe 2 miles I make it, maybe. And another fuse went bad. Now this time I'm out in the woods, middle of nowhere, nobody's around me. So I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I know what the issue is. So I go back, we have extra fuses in the bike, and I pop another fuse in there, get back going. The bike starts right back up. I mean, obviously I was like, all right, we have an issue now. Now we know something's going on. Popped 2 fuses within 2 miles.
But none of us in the pit area knew that, though.
No,
we
y'all didn't know that.
We got you going, and we're like, yep, we're going to see him here in a few minutes.
Yep.
Even though we're way back, but.
Yep. So then at this point, I get back going. I was like, all right, maybe I should try to ride the bike a different way. Maybe I was like, let me just ride it slow, not ride it fast. I got to make a lap. So, so the next thing you know, another about 2 miles go by, or if that.
But at this point,
I mean, I remember doing the YouTube video. We had the exact timestamps of when the fuse popped, and
but at this point, you're out of fuses up.
this point, I'm like, well, if it pops another one, I'm really
you're
screwed
done.
up.
Yeah.
So luckily, I ended up breaking in a field and ended up
Wayne Whitehead. Yeah.
And
He was out there.
he was out there on a bicycle, and I seen him, and I was like, dude, you got a cell phone? So then I ended up calling, I think you or
one of
somebody.
us.
So I was just wanting to let y'all know that the bike keeps breaking.
Yeah.
So I'm out of fuses. So I got to figure out something here. So we ended up actually putting a staple in the forward.
Actually, wasn't Wayne the one that mentioned
I think
that?
it was Wayne that was the idea.
Yeah, so and the other thing is the course marshal had come up there at this point too.
Yep.
So he had
A course
staple
marshal.
gun and
Yep.
and
A
all
course
that
marshal
stuff.
was there as well.
And
So
Wayne's, I guess Whitehead goes, well, hell, let's just put a staple in it.
So I was like, all right.
And Brandon's like, I don't care, let's do it.
I want to get going. So put a staple in it, and it didn't last 30 seconds.
No.
That staple burned out just like that.
But that was bad news. If that cracker would have burnt, that could have burned our bike down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, all right. So now I'm in the middle of the track with no fuses, nothing I could figure out.
Staple didn't work.
Yeah. So now I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at a point where it's like I have nobody around me.
You're probably an 8 mile marker by then. This is where we spent the most time.
Yes.
Because I got another phone call from someone, and it was you, obviously, by using somebody else's phone, and you said, Dad, I'm like, you was behind that little house behind the ponds.
Yeah, so actually, we haven't even made a lap yet. So at typical Gnccs, they, after all the riders go, there's what do you call them?
Chase guys or...
I don't know. Sweepers.
Sweepers.
You have sweepers.
On dirt bikes.
At the end of lap 1, they always sweep the first lap. And obviously I'm still broke on the first lap, so they actually came by.
And at this point, you're probably the last guy on the lap.
So ended up seeing a sweeper. I stop him. I was like, I do not want to tow. I know the bike will be able to finish a lap at least for me. So well, at least I thought I knew that at this point.
Now, but at this point, Wayne had called our pit area and said, hey, I got Brandon going. He's got a staple in his bike. So at this point, we're rustling around in the pit area
trying to get fuses, and a bunch of us are riding down on freaking e-bikes because we knew approximately where you were at by the information that Wayne had given us. And so we're all hauling ass out there but we all got fuses in our boots and in our pockets. Finally we find you. You know what I mean? And so I can't remember who it was, but they called, and so we were all swarming around you. Me and Terry. I remember it was a while. I was sitting there. I was contemplating, like, I don't know what.
There's nothing you could do.
I didn't know what was wrong with the bike. It was like, is there something grounding out? We didn't know, and there was no idea of really knowing. We knew what fuse it was. We knew about what it could be. We either knew it was something.
We just didn't know how to fix the damn thing to get us another 3 miles.
It was either something to do with the fuel pump or something to do with spark
electrical
or something. So then I tore the bike apart a little bit, trying to look for something to see, but there was nothing to see. Everything looked normal. And I remember y'all finally get there, and I was like...
But we get there, we put a fuse in it. You suit up, throw the helmet on, what happens? It dies. It blows another one right in front of us.
We thought...
We're like, oh, this may be the end. And the sweeper had told you, hey, I'll come back and check on you. Because the rule is, if you ever get pulled in by a sweeper, you're done. Your race is over.
You cannot even go back out.
We were trying, and the race was still on. So we were trying to make sure that if we were done, we were done. Okay. And so, anyway, the fuse that belongs in it, I think, was a 15 ampere. Okay, a 15 amp fuse. And I don't know, I can't remember what but anyway, we ended up
put a 15 in it.
We put a 15 and it popped it right off the bat. So we're like, well, let's put a 20 in there. We put you a 20 in there, but although this time we said, here, Brandon, here's the fuses. And we stuck them in Brandon's boots.
I remember I had fuses in my boots.
People were freaking hanging fuses out, waiting on them. It was unbelievable.
It was crazy. It was a crazy race. You could tell everybody knew I was trying to make a lap. I mean, everybody was out there. So we put the 20 in there, and it took off.
It goes a little further.
So then I was like, all right, well, let's keep on going. I know I got my fuses now, so we should be good. So I make it about another mile or two. and it popped the fuse again. So I mean,
Jump off, pull 'em
instantly
out.
get off.
At this point, you're only a 3-minute pit stop.
Yeah,
So
at
we've
this
already
point,
got
it's
it
like I
figured
already
out.
know exactly what to do. But at this point, I was like, dang, I'm almost to the finish. I mean, I'm almost there. So I was like, I was out here in the middle of the field. The next thing you know, I see a course marker. I remember it, a course marshal coming up, and he starts backing up to my four-wheeler, and I was like,
Yeah,
what
this one had an ATV. He was actually getting the hook out.
He was about to hook me up, and I was like, you're not. He
You're
didn't
not
understand
hooking me
what
up.
was going on. He was like, I know what's going on with the bike. I know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to the finish line. So he understood, and then he started helping me fix the bike, or he just held my plastic for me, and ended up putting the fuse back in. I mean, it got right back going.
Yeah.
So, and then actually seeing y'all on the bicycles, y'all are finally headed to the pit. Y'all seen me, and just trying to make a lap, and ended up, I had all the fuses I needed.
We ended up making one lap, and we were excited for that.
So,
okay, we had felt like we had won the race, to be honest with you.
we were devastated. Trust me,
We were really devastated.
But we were happy to
Yes.
man, that was over. I mean, it was a lot of work to do that one lap.
So immediately we pull up to the trailer. Don't know where you finished, didn't really care. We knew that we completed a lap. We started tearing into this thing.
We knew how important the lap was.
And so we started trying to figure it out. Did not quite figure it out that night before we left, but we worked on it quite a bit.
Yep.
And it turns out it was a shorted out fuel pump that was kept blowing the fuses.
Yep.
But all right, so Brandon, then we so that's pretty much it. That was a fun race, but it was an
It
gnarly
was
race.
exciting because there was no pressure. There was nothing involved. You just had to get there.
But I will tell you, what's in my backpack now is fuses.
Oh yeah.
So we carry fuses with us, and there's spare fuses.
There's spare fuses on the
four-wheeler.
four-wheeler too now.
So all right, so we go to race 5. Here we are. We got a wrecked four-wheeler that's crashed, and we're still waiting on parts from. Now we've got a four-wheeler that we don't really know exactly what's going on with it,
an
and we
electrical
don't
issue,
trust it.
and we're really scared about
Now
it.
it's an electric issue. We're like, damn it, do we just put a whole harness on? We didn't know what the hell to do. And now we've got another race at Old Gray, going to a new place that we've not been to in Tennessee, which we're all very excited about.
Yeah, I was really excited.
Everybody's
for it.
excited about going to Tennessee and this new race. And we had a decision to make of what in the world we're going to do. The wrecked bike at home, you didn't like it. We were working on, almost had it finished up, but you definitely didn't like the shocks. Mr. Santo, DeRisi, they changed them all back. And so we ended up taking the new bike because you felt like you didn't trust the one that you had just won 2 races on. We just didn't feel like we could trust it.
Yep.
You know, and we didn't exactly.
No,
Yeah,
exactly
that's the
what was
problem.
wrong. Yeah.
We think that was the problem, and that was the issue with it, is we didn't know for sure. And you know, in this kind of deal, we just hate to be guessing. So we ended up getting a new bike put together and tested some shocks. And you actually thought, well, damn, it's going to be a pretty good four-wheeler.
Yeah.
So now this bike's got 3 hours on it.
Yeah, it's still a new
four-wheeler. So it's a brand new ATV. Okay. So all right. So you bicycled to try. Wait a minute. We get there on Friday.
Yep.
And we're getting phone calls of people saying,
don't even show up.
Don't even show up. The damn place is so muddy. Everybody's getting stuck. They're pulling everybody in and out. And we're like, what? We're like, this is supposed to be a...
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we, I can't remember the little town we went to. We got off the airplane, went to a little town and ate with the Lays.
Hung out.
And hung out. And we're like,
had a good
nah,
time.
hell no. We're going to the track.
We wanted to go.
Well, we wanted to go. We just got to see it. So we show up there, and sure enough, well, they're pulling people in and out and all that. And anyway,
I remember we only stayed for a few hours.
Wasn't very long. So Brandon just at least wanted to get a visual of the place, of the track. I wanted to get a visual of the layout so we could figure out pit strategy and that kind of stuff.
I remember I didn't even look at the track Friday.
No.
Because it was just so... It was a madhouse. Everybody's everywhere.
You got a lot of information from others.
Yes.
And
so then obviously went back to the hotel and woke up Saturday morning feeling good. I mean, everybody said the place was a little muddy, or the parking area was muddy.
Yes.
Everybody said the track was about perfect. So I was like, I don't believe that, because I've only seen the parking area.
Yeah, when you see the parking area,
it looked like a disaster. So I ended up biking the track Saturday morning, or biking the U track Saturday morning, just to get an idea of what I'm getting into, because a new track, new facility, everybody's telling me the place is dry, but the parking's muddy. So I'm like trying to figure out what I'm doing. And so I get up really early Saturday morning and bike the track, and really happy with it. Track was fresh, new track. All trees though, which is not
And
really
a bunch of rocks.
my cup of tea. Bunch of rocks.
Bunch of rocks.
No real fields. I like the field just to open everything up a little bit. But I mean, the track looked fun. I mean, it was tighter than normal, which was cool. Something different. A little bit more of like, I guess everybody said it was old school Gncc, and I was happy with
but
it.
you actually did
ready.
very well in the race, Brandon. I'm going to give you some of the stats. I didn't give you the stats earlier. There was 306 riders, so everybody was excited to get there.
Yep.
And you led 2 of the 4 laps, and you finished 24th overall. Obviously, we had an issue that we're getting ready to discuss.
Yep.
You finished 7th in class. You took off, and I think you was 3rd or 4th on the start, something like that. I think 3rd or 4th. And you got the lead, I think, the first lap there shortly after, or something like that.
I think so.
You and Collier and I think Caden Wharf, you guys put a pretty good blaze on.
Yep.
And it was rockier than all get out.
Yeah, obviously our first lap is like, I mean, before anybody really races the track, we're like the first ones
You're
on
going
it.
through the woods, and then
So
we're
we're finding rocks that we didn't even see when people were biking the track and stuff like that. So we're learning the track. The whole 4x4 Pro class really, I mean, everybody in the AM class was learning it. And we're figuring out that first lap. And I remember I got the lead and felt good. I was like, dude, I mean, I like the track. It's flowing really good. It's rocky. I kind of like the rocks. So felt good.
Yeah, I remember it was you and Collier out front. Y'all had got a pretty good lead, and Collier may have led the first lap, maybe, but anyway, or vice versa. Well, you may have led the first lap, he led the second lap. I don't know, but it was you two.
I remember there wasn't much passing.
No, there was no passing.
Because the track was
a couple things that stand out to me. He come by, he was in second place, right behind your butt one time. He had fuel.
Yep, I remember his gas cap.
This far out of the damn. Something happened, I think, in the pit, or maybe his leg hit the cap. The cap fell off. He had gas going everywhere.
Yep.
And he was right on your tail, man.
And this was the 3rd lap. I remember it.
Probably
it was
third lap. So it maybe been after the pit area.
We were going into the white flag and going into the 4th lap. White flag, he pitted right after that. I seen him pit. He put a new gas cap on. So like, all right, I got a 10-second, 15-second buffer here.
Right. Going in the last lap. Yep.
Going in the last lap, I'm feeling good. I mean, I knew there wasn't a lot of passing, so I was like, okay, as long as I get around lappers clean, as long as I don't make a mistake, it was going to be hard. So I was feeling good. Man, dude, I remember it because this one hurt too. I remember.
Now you had just come off 2 bad finishes.
Two bad, one bad finish, but a bad finish on this bike already.
Right.
Wasn't very happy with the bike.
Yes.
And felt like
we needed a pick-me-up.
We needed something.
Yeah.
So
leading
dude,
the lap, you
really,
went in the last lap leading, and it was you and Collier, and it was like you said, it was hard to pass. So unless you made a mistake, you were probably going to win the race. And guess what happens?
And I remember going into a corner, ended up, man, the brake lever ended up catching my pant leg and locking the bike up, and ended up losing the lead. And then obviously that put me in a panic, and I was like, man, dude, I lost the lead because of a stupid mistake. I mean, it was completely dumb.
And that was kind of weird. We never had that.
Never had an issue like that. No. The track was tighter, so maybe that was the reason, but that's a race we learned from.
Oh yeah.
We changed some stuff since then, but yeah. So now that put me in a panic. I'm in second. I was like, man, dude, I've been
right behind Collier. I mean, you're still there.
I'm still there. I've been winning the race. I was like, man, I want to win. So I was feeling good, and ended up running high on a berm, and I mean, just barely knocking a tree with the right front and breaking a tie rod in. So, which is unfortunate. I was 3 miles from the finish. Felt like I could have attempted something. I mean, I knew the track didn't have much passing, but felt like I could have attempted something. Even if a second, I would have been happy with a second.
You ended up 7th. So you was able to limp it around.
I ended up limping it around. That 3 miles was tough. It was really tough.
The quad just wouldn't.
And obviously, I was not the happiest trying to make sure I was going to finish. And I remember getting off the track, super devastated. Just had a bad race at Camp Coker.
I remember you changed, got out of your boots and everything, talked to James a little bit. And next thing you know, we're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I was not in the mood to really talk to anybody. I was just, because it was my fault. It's a different feeling when it's a bike's fault. It's the bike's fault. When it's your fault, it's like, it hurts.
It
so,
is.
So yeah, I was ready to go home. Went home, and man, dude, I was upset. So went
and
home.
also being the old gray, the first race.
Wanted to win it.
Yeah.
You know, like I was happy for
the
it.
Landers.
Yep.
Beautiful property. And
So I remember went home and I was upset. So I went home and I worked out.
Oh,
I remember
Brandon went to work.
I went to work. I was pretty upset with myself. Just came off 2 bad finishes. One not really being my fault. Second one definitely being 100% my fault. So went to work, and obviously it showed.